Hey guys, Brian Carper here with another tip of the week. This week I want to talk about the appropriate way of setting your bait caster. I fish with a lot of clients that fish with spinning reels, and mentioned to me that I've tried a bait caster and I just can't get it. I can't have any luck, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I want to go over a few basic adjustments on your reel to get you started. It will take time to get better at it and to become accurate with your casting. But if you start off with your reel not set right, then you never will get it, because it's just not made to work when the things aren't set correctly. So the first thing you want to do when you are setting your bait caster up to start casting, to learn how to do it, you put it on your rod, fill it up with line, and put a lure on it. And put a lure on it that has some weight. Maybe a big jig, maybe a big crankbait. Take the hooks off. A plastic worm with a bullet weight on it, something heavy. The second thing you want to do is make sure you have line that is not too thick. If you're just getting into bait cast, fishing with the bait cast reel, put on 10 or 12 pound line, something on the lighter side. If it's too heavy, you will have to, or if it's heavier, you will have to use more force to cast it. And the 10 and 12 pound, maybe 14, but I'd go with 10 or 12, will help you be able to cast it smoothly while you're learning. So put something heavy on. If you need to take the hook off or bite or clip the hook off while you practice casting it, if you're at your house in the yard, do that, because it will snag up in the grass. But what you want to do then, after you got your lure on and you've spooled up your line, is you want to take your spool tension knob, which is right here. It's on the right side of your reel if you're right-handed, if you reel with your right, but it's right next to the handle. And this little knob, you want to tighten it all the way. You want to tighten it till it gets tight. And what that's going to do, if I were to reel this up without breaking my rod, okay. If I were to reel this up all the way, and then I tighten my spool where it's real tight, and I didn't have it tight enough. I got it so tight. Okay. Now you can see that when I pull it really tight and I let go of my thumb, that it doesn't move. It's not moving. The weight of it, it's not heavy enough to pull it off of the spool or move the spool. So what you want to do then, you want to start right there, tighten it up real tight, hit the release your button here to release your line, and if it doesn't move at all, then you've got it set right for now. But you don't want to leave it there. Then with your button open to let the line out, you want to start going backwards on your spool tension knob here. You just start going backwards until it gets loose enough, if I don't go the wrong way, until it gets loose enough to where if you watch the lure here, it will start falling. See how it's starting to fall? That's because the tension is lighting up and you're loosening the knob. So you want to set that just right. And where you want to set that is right when the lure starts moving. You want to tighten up the knob. It won't move. Start backing it up a little bit until the line just barely starts moving. And then once it starts moving a little bit, real slowly, then you've got it set where you want it. You don't want it too loose where it falls freely real fast, just too fast. You want it to fall real slowly, like, when your lure's falling about that pace, then it's set where you want. Just a little bit from where it won't move. So that's the appropriate setting for your lure. Now once you start casting, you'll have a dial on the other side of your reel that will have a 1 through a 10 or 1 through a 7 or 8, and that's your magnets or your spacers that puts pressure on the spool or tension on the spool as well when you cast. So what I like to do after I got my spool, my tension spool set, like we first went over, then I come over here and start casting it, and I put it on 10. It's really tight. I cast it, and it is kind of tough to get it out there far, but that's okay because you don't want to get a bird's nest every time. You rather start with it really tightly and then back off to where it's comfortable and where it will cast better. So I'll start with 10. I recommend you start with 10, make a cast, get a feel for it, and then back it up to like 9 or 8. Make a cast. If it's still not going out far enough, or not going out as smoothly as you like, or it doesn't seem comfortable, back it off. Usually around somewhere, depending on what you're fishing with, between 7, 6, 5, 4, somewhere in the middle there is where it's going to feel the smoothest, and that's where the appropriate setting is going to be. If you were to test and just see what it does, if you go all the way to 1, you're going to make a cast, and your spool, when you cast, is going to go real fast because there's no pressure on it. So you'll want to probably have it about 7, 6, 5, or 4, somewhere in the middle. So cast it really lightly. Don't go crazy on it. Just kind of baby yourself up. Crawl before you walk. Kind of get it, comfortable, and then you get further and further and further, and you get more accurate the more you do it. And that's pretty much the basics of it. Fill up your spool, 10 to 12 pound line. Tighten your tension spool to where you hit the button on your line release and the lure won't fall. Back it up until it starts falling slowly, and then come over here and start playing with the magnets or the spacers on the other side of your reel, and back it up probably 7, 6, 5, 4, somewhere around there is going to be comfortable to where you can cast. With those 3, 4 elements of casting, you'll shave off hours of trying to figure out how to bait cast a bait caster. So get out in open water. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you do these things, you will learn how to fish with a bait caster quickly. So try that. When you cast, one last tip, always keep your thumb on the spool. You just want to feather it. Don't push real hard, and don't leave it off too high. You just want to keep your thumb just on it, so it just keeps the line as it comes off of the spool in line with the way it's coming off. You want it to be, it parallel with all the other line, and it just goes across that spool just like that. And keeping your thumb on it will just help it stay in there and tight. So try those. If you have any questions, you can always email us, call me, do a trip with us, and we'll practice. But that is setting your bait cast reel if you're a first timer, and hopefully it made sense. And give it a try. Baitcaster is a dynamite reel for many different reasons. It's good to know how to do both, spinning and bait cast. And that's Brian Carper's Tip of the Week.